Alright, here with my grandfather, Bobby Cox, and ask him some questions for his project in U.S. history. Just gonna ask him some things that he lived through and see his views versus what mine might be, even since I wasn't in it and all. Alright, so I was gonna ask you some stuff about the civil rights movement. Okay. And how intense was it around here back in time, Mississippi, the capital, the racist capital of the world?
Well, in my home here in Prentice County, it wasn't very intense at all. We knew of all the riots and all the staging the walk from Selma to Birmingham and all that. The only time it really became a big conversation piece was, of course, the incident over at Ole Miss, when they had a riot over there and they had to call out the National Guard and all that because of the young man that applied there, and he eventually went to school there. And my family had their views on that subject. And coming out of the 1800s, my granddaddy, of course, and pretty much my daddy, felt like that there should be separate schools for each. I believe now that that was wrong, but I can understand how they thought that, coming from the heritage which they came from. And that was their only thing, was I wish they would go to their schools and let our kids go to our schools. And that was pretty much it, other than that everybody just felt bad about the thing over at Ole Miss. It seemed, even to my daddy and my granddaddy, it was a scar on Mississippi, even though their views were maybe more similar than, well, much more similar than mine, but still they felt like seeing it on the evening news and the way it made all Mississippians look. They cared not for what they did over there or tried to do. So that was the only time it became a big topic in my family. Other than that, the integration process came very smoothly to my family.
Right. It was a big issue nationwide, I know. Do you know any of like the national views on Mississippi at that time, maybe?
We have been looked at as the armpit of the United States ever since then. I mean, nobody really wants to admit that, but we haven't been able to change. But a lot of that is because of people that, again, you see it on the national media, but the people that are speaking that way and making fun and making jokes have never been to Mississippi. And they don't have a clue how good it is to live here. And I take that as my refuge from all of those idiots and people that think they're so smart, but yet they run their mouth not having knowledge about what they speak of.
Never a good thing.
Never ever.
And the other subject I was going to ask you about when it comes to civil rights is, what was the general reaction in this area over integration in the schools? Colleges, high schools, middle schools, whatever.
I don't think that white people wanted integration. I don't think the majority of the black people wanted immigration. But I believe it was something that had to happen. And it was going to happen here, and in my opinion, it went as smoothly. And again, I'm talking about in Jumpertown and in Prentice County. I don't ever remember any bad scene, the year that we began integration, and I don't know that we've had any since. So as far as my home area, it went very smooth.
So you just say generally it went just really well.
Went well.
Prentice County.
Yeah, I know of nobody having even a big shouting match over it. I didn't hear any or know of any, much less anything physical. So it went really well.
Well, the other general topic I was going to ask you about was things about the Cold War.
Okay.
And so I was just going to ask you, what was the general feeling here? I know it was mass chaos, and everyone could be a communist, and everyone was building a shelter to hide from the nukes that were for sure coming in their minds.
Mm-hmm.
What was the idea about that in here in Prentice County and just northeast Mississippi?
not so much as, again, as you saw out of, say, New York and the East Coast or California. I know of nobody that built a bomb shelter. Now, they built some storm shelters that might have sufficed for both, but I think they were more scared of the storm than they were of a nuke in our area. I think everyone felt a little bit comfortable about, again, Prentice County, in that we didn't feel a nuclear bomb was going to come to Prentice County. I mean, what are they going to destroy other than the people? You know, the bombs were going to go to Huntsville, Pickwick, maybe Memphis. I'm not sure, probably Memphis, and other places, but you know, 100 or more miles away. So it wasn't as big a deal here as far as the main bomb shelters and all that. I don't ever remember even having the old drop, get under your desk, and cover your head drill that millions of kids went through, which was now is a joke because you drop and you cover your head and get under the desk, and you know you're vaporized with the desk. So it was of no purpose. I don't know why. I think they should have had better knowledge. But again, during that time I was from 10 to 13 when the Cuban crisis came along. That everyone was nervous about that, even though we felt as again where we live was a little safer from the situation. Everyone was nervous about that. It just came so close, and it just seemed neither would give, and everyone was so relieved when it was over with, and so glad. Even I can remember that, and I was very, very young and very immature to knowing about worldly things at that time.
The other thing I was going to ask you about the Cold War is, what was the reaction to its end? Was it just the huge uproar, relief? Everyone was just, it was just untold happiness, and forevermore we were going to be friends with Russia. Is that how it was? That's how they try to portray it sometimes.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that way. To say everyone was happy about the wall coming down, yes, everybody. I don't know anybody that did. I think everyone was very proud of the fact that we felt like we won the Cold War. And very much of that was on Ronald Reagan. We felt that his presidency of negotiating from strength and making it very clear to the communists that we weren't going to be weak. We were going to negotiate from strength, and we were going to get stronger. And, you know, if they wanted to try us, then they were going to lose their entire country just like we would. And they saw that it just couldn't be. And also, they had some political figures come into office that were at least reasonable. You could sit down and talk with them. And that made a huge deal when the wall finally came down during the first Bush administration. But now he was a strong president too. So I think everyone was a lot of national pride and a lot of relief. Now, whether or not anybody thought we were going to be best friends with Russia, well, I don't think anybody that is in the know at all would have thought that, because that's just not going to happen. And unless they turn over and become a completely free nation and open markets, everything, just like we are, and also many of the European nations. That's the only time it can ever happen, when they show that they're going to do that, and then the people are strong enough to stand up if somebody tries to take it away from them. That's the reason they're weak. Their people are not strong enough to take it away from the hard, strong men that take over and over and over. Same way it is in the Middle East. Those people are not strong enough to stand up and take their country and have the kind of government they want. And until that happens, you can't be friends with them. You can be civil to them and try to help when they get in trouble or need food or whatever you can do, but you can't trust them. They're just not strong enough as a people. Thus, they're going to be ruled by a dictator.
All right, I think that wraps up my interview for now. I think we've done enough. Thank you for your time.
Enjoy it.
I appreciate it.